not that there was anything wrong with it, but it needed to be very carefully handled. And being the Chief Justice, the task fell right on my lap.
Yeah.
You are faced with that. So the question was, how do you deal with a case with so much political polarization, which almost distorts the judicial content of the case? Because you see, it takes away the rational approach, the legal approach, where once issues, the ordinary issues of fact and meaning of law would have been easy to tackle, they are being clouded by this. They are being clouded by this. So the best approach was what I took. I said, let's have the public take part in this. Do you see what I mean? I deliberately decided to have the public get involved in the decision, in the process. Because I realized that if we didn't have the public involved, there will continue to be misinformation. That's why we had to have the live streaming. You remember it was the first case to be live streamed by ZBC.
We have seen several judges being removed from the bench, including Justice Ndewere, Chinamora, Mabikwa, and Mushore. How do you view the frequency of these removals?
There is this provision in the Constitution which says a judge can be removed if it's shown that he or she is guilty of gross misconduct, gross incompetence. It does suggest to me, which I think you will agree, that the makers of the Constitution realize that there will be cases of judges conducting themselves in a manner that reaches that level. They will be there. Otherwise, there will be no point in having that law. We don't make the law. It's the people who made the law. They made the Constitution like that. So the only task with the institution, the Chief Justice, the Judicial Service Commission, in terms of that law, is to say, does this trigger that process? The process itself is set out in the Constitution, yeah, right? So the only role we played there is, does it trigger this? And most of the time is the members of the public. In all these cases that you have cited, it's not the judiciary authorities that started the cases. They were started because of complaint from the members of the public.
Maybe, Chief Justice, as a parting shot, how then as a country do we make sure we don't have that much?
That is where I'm happy I was going there. The critical issue is to ensure that judges avoid that kind of conduct. Because that conduct most of the time comes from misperformance, not performing your duties according to the requirements of the law.
Okay.
For example, most of the complaints come, the judge didn't do this, the judge behaved in it. Some of them are very genuine complaints. So when you look at the totality of these cases, even these that we cited, those were avoidable cases, to be frank with you.
The President, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, has appointed Justice Elizabeth Gwawunza as the Chief Justice of Zimbabwe with effect from the 15th of May 2026. In a statement, Chief Secretary to the President and Cabinet, Dr. Martin Rushaya, said the appointment was done in terms of Section 180 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. Justice Gwawunza served as the Deputy Chief Justice since 29 March 2018 and possesses extensive judicial experience. Dr. Rushaya has also announced the appointment of Justice Paddington Gare as the Deputy Chief Justice with effect from the 15th of May 2026. Justice Gare served as a judge of the Constitutional Court since 20 May 2021. In other news, over 50 combine harvesters have been dispersed across the country to assist farmers harvest their summer crop on time and pave way for the ongoing winter wheat planting. This comes as the country anticipates a surplus of about 900,000 tons of grain for the National Strategic Reserves this year.
Harvesting of the summer crops is now in full swing, including maize and other traditional grains, with the AFC availing combine harvesters to assist farmers to clear their crops on time. Here at Kaombe Farm in Beatrice, Amaim Papaire is busy clearing their 40-hectare plot of maize.
We are truly grateful to AFC leasing company. They provided us with this big machine, and we are managing to harvest all our maize on time in preparation for the winter wheat cropping season. 56
combine harvesters have so far been dispatched countrywide under the AFC leasing program. The head of AFC leasing company, Mr. Zorai Mudavano, is here to tell us how farmers will benefit under this AFC program.
Yes, Tendai, we have managed to roll out, as usual, our combine harvesters all over the country, 22 cluster centers, where farmers can access combining services so that they are ready for the upcoming winter wheat program on time. And right now, we have done over 2,000 hectares of harvesting.
Since the onset of the summer cropping marketing season, over 40,000 metric tons of maize and other crops have so far been delivered to GMB depots countrywide. Tendai Munengwa, ZBC News in Beatrice.
Government says the nation is on course to meet its winter wheat planting hectarage amid guarantees of key implements and other essential needs like electricity.
Riding on the agriculture, food systems and rural transformation strategy, Zimbabwe is targeting to establish 125,000 hectares under wheat countrywide this season, translating to around 662,500 metric tons. One Kwekwe farmer has set sights on 800 hectares from the province target of 12,500.
I'm targeting 8 tons per hectare of wheat, my average wheat yield. Last time I had 7. This year I'm targeting to increase by another 1 ton.
My inputs are kuwanikwa in time and are kuwanikwa are accessible. Then pozoita machinery toda kutenda government yedu ichitungamirirwa nababa Mnangagwa yakaita ease of doing business pakuitira kuti pa importation materials zvisanetse. You can see kuti panapa mapivots aripo, tractors maombe ari kupinda munyika.
The Minister of Agriculture, Mechanization and Water Resources Management, Dr. Enchas Masuka, who is on a countrywide assessment towards winter wheat production, says the country is on course to meet its target with adequate power supply guaranteed.
Farmers must maximize on this. There have been some concerns regarding top dressing fertilizer. Today, with fertilizer companies, we are assured that all the fertilizer that is required for winter wheat will be in the country by end of next week, and all the enablers are in place, inclusive of government's mobilization of resources. Energy, we require 150 megawatts. The Minister of Energy and Power Development, by Tuesday, Minister July Moyo had generously given us 125 megawatts that had already been ring-fenced. There is heightened inflow into Kariba at 40% live water compared to 10% last year. And of course, Wange 7 and 8 are producing at the maximum 614 megawatts a day. So there is an assurance that power is available.
Government has assured farmers of full value for their produce after adopting a cost-plus approach for farmer payments commensurate with production input. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Kwekwe.
The construction of ancillary projects linked to the Gwayi-Shangani Lake project is progressing steadily, with works at the Gwayi-Shangani Bulawayo Booster Pump Station 3 in Cholocho District, Matabeleland North Province on course. The station is expected to be completed by the end of this year, driven by consistent government funding.
First mooted in 1912, the Gwayi-Shangani Lake project only began in earnest with the advent of the Second Republic through a domestic resource mobilization initiative. The massive undertaking includes several key ancillary developments, among them a 250-kilometer pipeline that will transport water from the lake to Bulawayo. The system will also comprise 5 booster pump stations strategically positioned along the route. Notable progress has been recorded at Pump Station 3 in Cholocho district, which forms part of the broader Gwayi-Shangani Bulawayo water conveyance system.
We have constructed the pressure tank, which is at 98% complete, and the pump house, which is at 60% complete. And after we have done this site, we are going to move on to another site, which is PS4, which is at the sawmills.
The 5 pump stations under the project are spread across Matabeleland North Province, with Pump Station 1 located at Cross Mabale in Wange District, Pump Stations 2 and 3 in Cholocho District, Pump Station 4 at Sawmills, and Pump Station 5 in Nyamandlovu, Umguza District. Beyond infrastructure development, the project is also creating employment opportunities for local communities.
Here we've got 70 locals which are employed on the side of the contractor.
Local traditional leaders are already looking forward to the long-term benefits expected from the project.
The pipeline is elupane, so our communities along the pipeline benefit ngamanzi, ama irrigation.
The Gwayi-Shangani Lake project is one of the country's flagship infrastructure developments aimed at improving water security for Bulawayo and surrounding communities, while unlocking economic opportunities in Matabeleland North Province and beyond. Tichawona Kurewa, ZBC News, Cholocho.
A giant modern incinerator system installed at Mpilo Central Hospital in Bulawayo has come as a major healthcare service boost in the southern part of the country. Our assistant news editor, Mhlomuli Ncube, gives us the story.
The move by the Second Republic to invest heavily in the public healthcare system is saving lives across the country. In Bulawayo, government has facilitated the installation of a modern incinerator system at Mpilo Central Hospital after securing funding from the Global Fund and the United Nations Development Program. The modern digital incinerator serves Matabeleland North, Matabeleland South, Bulawayo, Midlands and Mashingo provinces.
Lomoya kade siuphefumula umoya ngikhona ubungekho healthy. Siyabonga le incinerator le esikhona kathesi asibona intuthu as-affect ngalutho.
Built under a thrust to modernize health facilities, the incinerator has become a big boost for medical waste disposal in both public and private sectors. Over 13,000 kilograms of medical waste has been processed so far.
This project came about with the coming in of the Second Republic. Their primary aim was to modernize the infrastructure, the health infrastructure, and how we're doing certain procedures. They chose the medical waste disposal because prior to this incinerator, we were using the other older methods of incineration. And now in those older methods of incineration, we were producing smoke. But smoke becomes unfriendly to the communities living around.
The funding secured by government is also being utilized for installation of solar power systems for health facilities across the country. Mhlomuli Ncube, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Technological evolution of the media dominated discussions at the belated World Press Freedom Day commemorations in Harare this Thursday.
Artificial intelligence, social media, and the growing spread of fake news took center stage at the belated World Press Freedom Day commemorations held in Harare this Thursday.
The Second Republic remains fully committed to upholding media freedom, media diversity, and freedom of expression as essential pillars of democracy and national development. Press freedom must never be mistaken for freedom to spread falsehoods, manipulate public opinion, or sow division.
Media stakeholders stressed the importance of press freedom, ethical reporting, and stronger fact-checking initiatives to combat misinformation and support sustainable development in the digital age.
Never before, press freedom is now as important than ever. Let's do proper reporting so that we can support sustainable development of our country.
Freedom of expression remains a cornerstone of democratic societies. However, media freedom must also be accompanied by professionalism, accuracy, fairness, as well as accountability.
We
would like to encourage all of you to establish fact-checking initiatives, because there's so much fake information going around.
The commemorations also recognize the role of journalists in promoting development, strengthening national unity, and preserving Zimbabwe's cultural identity through responsible reporting. Patience Nyagato, ZBC News, Harare.
Hundreds of people in Marondera have added their voice in support of Constitutional Amendment Number 3 bill. The residents pledged their support of the bill during a presidential borehole sinking program held in Marondera Central this Thursday.
The presidential borehole sinking program reached Marondera Central in Mashonaland province, an initiative designed to mitigate persistent water shortages in urban and peri-urban areas. Residents and members of the opposition who gathered in Ward 1 for the handover of some of the boreholes being sunk under the program took the opportunity to voice their support for Constitutional Amendment Number 3 bill.
ndaitaza kuti ono ndingavaitira vanhu veward 1 sokumisika ndakavaita saka chichimwe chivimbiso chatozadzikiswawo na president Idi Mnangagwa zvinova zvarerutsirawo inini ndakabvunzwa muno muwadi.
Inini nditori former member weparliament weku CCC asi pari zvino nditori pano saka ndakungotenda kuti takaona kuti isusu ngatitere vaMnangagwa ngatitere gwara remusangano ngatitere zviri kuda kuti development iitwe munyika totenda nemvura iyi kwatiri chikomborero.
President vedu ngavarambe vakadaro vachitiitira maprogram akafanana neyayo emvura nekuti mvura ndoupenyu.
Totsigira zvakanyanya ndakazvimirira semuyouth nchiti bill number 3 bho zvekuti nekuti tinoona continuity mumaprojects.
Bill rakatinakira saka tiri kuritsigira zvakanyanyisisa kwete kuti kutsigirira nyaya yemadzimambo chete. Zviri kuitwa nemutungamiriri wenyika nehurumende yavo yese baba vaMnangagwa tiri kuzviona nemeso.
Presidential Investment and Empowerment Advisor Dr. Paul Tungwarara described the initiative as an inclusive approach to development.
We are celebrating a new way of doing things, a way in which development comes first, a way in which unity is not just a slogan, but an action, a way in which a president works for every citizen, even those who did not vote for him. And above all, let us work together as Zimbabweans. Let what unites us be greater than what divides us.
These and other development projects in Mashonaland province have resulted in the province endorsing Constitutional Amendment Number 3 bill to ensure continuity of developmental projects.
We are a developing nation. People must not be bogged down by elections every now and then. So we are changing the cycle and moving it from 5 years, and we are taking that period to a period of 7 years. We need to have a go at the proposals because they represent the aspirations of our people. And as Mashonaland province, we are fully behind Constitutional Amendment Number 3.
Constitutional Amendment Number 3 bill is now set to be tabled before Parliament for debate, following public hearings that were conducted on the legislative amendment. John Nandara, ZBC News, Marondera.
Now, for more news, you can log on to our website, zbcnews.co.zw. You can also visit our social media platforms, our X handle at ZBC News Online, our Facebook page, ZBC News Online, as well as our YouTube channel, ZBC News Online. And for stories still to expect in this bulletin. French President Emmanuel Macron calls for stronger African role on the UN Security Council. And in sport, Dynamos denied late victory as Kawandera rescues Irentals in dramatic 2-all draw at Rufaro. We'll take a short break and we will be back after these messages.
Cicada unlocks EU financing and EU Zimtrade partnership benefits, thus enabling Isaac's farming business to flourish.
Kuminda benefits from EU Zimtrade partnerships, backing Taku's career, ensuring export quality.
2 hustles, 1 outcome. everyone levels up together. From farms to cold rooms to global shelves, skills and teamwork are opening new paths every day. Stories of progress, wins worth celebrating.
From blueprint to reality, the Joshua Nkomo Airport Road interchange is rising, transforming and driving the country's infrastructure modernization agenda under the Second Republic, led by His Excellency President Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa. The construction of the Joshua Nkomo Airport Road interchange along Harare Drive marks another major milestone under NDS2. Designed as a modern grade separated interchange, the project forms part of the larger Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport Road upgrade, which is creating a seamless expressway link between Harare's Central Business District and the country's premier international gateway. The project includes dual carriageways, flyovers, underpasses, bridges, drainage systems and landscape urban infrastructure aimed at improving traffic flow, reducing travel time and enhancing road safety. Once complete, the corridor will strengthen tourism, trade and investment while improving connectivity within Harare's transport network. Kilometer by kilometer, Zimbabwe is building world-class infrastructure and leaving no one and no place behind.
We've always known what it takes to grow. But this is what it feels like to finally step inside the dream. It's that quiet moment when a room holds everything it used to be and everything it made possible. That this is actually mine feeling when the first payment hits. That pure adrenaline from a small space to an empire you rule. And when you said you'd almost sleep in your first car, we made sure you actually did. Plans may adapt, circumstances will evolve, but your growth, that's non-negotiable. Bank on growth with Stanbic Bank Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is our home, and we drive her growth.
Stanbic Bank is a registered commercial bank and a member of the Deposit Protection Scheme.
Drug and substance abuse leads to serious health problems, financial troubles,
accidents, injuries, relationship issues, and addiction,
which can be very difficult to overcome. Above all, drug and substance abuse is a crime.
Are you struggling with drug and substance abuse?
Do you know someone who is struggling with drug and substance abuse-related addiction?
Get assistance. Call now on the Drug and Substance Abuse Unit toll-free number
0801 4424.
For all mental health challenges, please call toll-free number 2024.
Don't let drugs control your life. Seek help and start your journey to recovery today.
Zim Digital set-top box decoders with all the 7 local television channels and 6 national radio stations are now available for sale. The decoder will give you viewers access to ZBC News, ZBC TV, ZBC Jive TV, 3K TV, Kiona TV, NR TV and ZTN Prime. No subscription is needed as all the channels are free to view. For $25 United States or the ZIG equivalent, the decoder comes with a cable plus indoor and outdoor antenna. The decoders are available at the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe bars, Transmedia, and all the TV broadcasters.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. French President Emmanuel Macron has called for stronger African representation on the United Nations Security Council during the final leg of his African tour in Ethiopia. Macron, who also visited Egypt and Kenya during the trip, said international institutions need to better reflect modern global realities and correct what he described as a historical injustice against Africa. Speaking in Ethiopia, Macron said permanent African representation on the Security Council should become a priority in efforts to improve the body's legitimacy and effectiveness. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres supported the call, saying the world will benefit from a more inclusive and representative Security Council. African leaders have long argued that the continent remains underrepresented in global decision-making structures despite its population size and growing political and economic influence. Zimbabwe is vying for the UN Security Council non-permanent seat for 2027 to 2028 as it seeks to contribute to global peace, unity, and development. And now moving on, road infrastructure development and electricity generation took center stage in the Senate question and answer session at the Parliament building in Mount Hampton this Thursday.
During the Senate question and answer session, the Minister of Transport and Infrastructure Development, Honorable Felix Mona, gave an update on the multi-million Kazungula Railroad Bridge project. Minister Mona also highlighted measures that have been put in place to mitigate road traffic accidents amid statistics of close to 7 lives lost each day.
We will continue preaching the issues to do with safety on our roads. And also from this Uganda houses, we go back to our constituencies to preach the good news that as much as roads are being rehabilitated, we need to adhere to specified speed limits on our roads. And I'm sure if we do that, one day we will win as a country. But it's certain that we are losing, now it's almost 7 lives a day on our roads.
Deputy Minister of Energy and Power Development, Honorable Yokai Simbanegari, spotlighted government policy on electricity licensing and guidelines. Meanwhile, mining companies have been urged to rehabilitate roads in their operating communities in order to mitigate the damage caused by heavy machinery. Festus Mkungurutse, CBC News, Harare.
Government has reaffirmed its position on enhancing human capital development, workforce productivity, and inclusive economic transformation in line with Vision 2030.
As part of efforts to strengthen workplace well-being and fostering productive organizations, stakeholders converged in Harare this Thursday for the National Workers' Wellness Summit.
We are really focusing on making this an annual event where government, policymakers, private sector, and everyone look at the nexus between productivity and workplace wellness, and also then looking at strategies to ensure that really we align workplace wellness with the national development strategy.
We're looking at HIV and AIDS, we're looking at mental health, we're looking at occupational safety, we're also looking at non-communicable diseases and how they impact on the productivity of employees within organizations.
We need each and every organization to actually commit to making the workplace a safer place, to make the worker be comfortable in where he's working. If he has a problem, he needs to be able to actually put it across to his superiors.
The Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Honorable Edgar Moyo, emphasized the need for a robust organizational workforce wellness system.
As Zimbabwe advances towards becoming an upper middle income economy, we must recognize that sustainable development cannot be achieved without a healthy, productive, motivated and resilient people. Human capital remains one of the key drivers of economic transformation, innovation, competitiveness and social stability.
Workplace wellness aligns with the National Development Strategy 2, which emphasizes social development, social protection and high-performance work cultures. Festus Mkunguru, KTC News, Harare.
SADC countries have concluded high-level deliberations on strengthening regional disaster preparedness and resilience, with member states adopting key measures meant to improve early warning systems, emergency response coordination, and recovery mechanisms.
As the meeting of SADC ministers responsible for disaster risk management comes to an end this Thursday in Masvingo, the regional body has adopted a number of governance and operational instruments aimed at strengthening disaster preparedness and response mechanisms across the region.
We agreed that we need to work together to assist each member state when disaster strikes, because in some of the cases it occurs to a number of countries, but in some of occasions it affects one country at a time. On the humanitarian ground, we agreed that the shock is going to be strengthened and be operationalized to ensure that the humanitarian response is at the highest level.
At the close of the meeting, partners and member states, including Zimbabwe, outlined some of the mitigatory measures they are undertaking in disaster response and preparedness.
Zimbabwe has hosted this regional meeting, then it's a clear testament that we as a country, we are more than committed in terms of regional integration, in terms of making sure that we work with countries within the region to address some of the pressing issues of natural disasters that are taking place because of climate change.
As the meeting concludes, attention now shifts to the implementation of adopted resolutions with expectations that member states will strengthen their disaster preparedness systems. Ms. Martina, ZBC News, Masvingo.
Zimbabwe is participating at the Africa-European Union Parliamentary Women's Forum in Eswatini with a platform looking at ways of advancing women's economic empowerment. Zimbabwe's Minister of Women Affairs, Community, Small and Medium Enterprises Development, Senator Monica Mutsvangwa, outlined Zimbabwe's interventions supporting women in agriculture.
This assembly, as said, established under the Samoa Agreement, marks the beginning of a renewed institutional partnership between Africa and the European Union, grounded in cooperation, shared prosperity and inclusive development. It is therefore fitting for one of the central conversations of this historic gathering focusing on women in agriculture. Because agriculture remains the backbone of many African economies, and women remain the backbone of agriculture itself. I'm particularly encouraged that this forum is being held during the United Nations International Year of the Women Farmer 2026. This global observance recognizes what African communities have always known, that women are central to food security, to nutrition, to environmental stewardship, economic resilience, and community survival.
Zimbabwe's expansive natural ecosystems, including grasslands, remain the heartbeat of livestock production in the country. We get more in the following report.
In Insisa district, one of Matebeleland's vast rangelands. Yes, the land looks dry and open, but it is a living ecosystem that has been used and managed by pastoralists for generations. The United Nations declared the year 2026 the International Year of Rangelands,
and Pastoralist. In Zimbabwe, it is a time to cast the spotlight on pastoralists on the key role they play in livestock production.
Amadlelo lawa mahle kakhulu. Silomganga okuthiwa ngwamasimu. Siyadla ngapha emasimini. Xa sekufikile isikhathi sokuthi silime sesizikhipha zisizisa ngapha kuthiwa kusemanzi.
Siyazama ukuthi siyenze amafakadi ukuze singahlaselwa yimlilo eyiyo phela engasichithela amadlelo.
Young farmers like in Banda say cattle farming has helped them stay off the streets.
Ukufuya kwethu inkomo kule ndlela eyokuphumelelisa umuntu.
Asijombi masile inkomo zethu zingaba khona ezinye sakwanisa ukuzithengisa.
Jasincedisa nje loba nje imisebenzi nje yezandla singabe siyenza.
Government and its partners spoke of measures they are implementing to preserve rangelands.
We have devised a system where we now have to look at growing grass. We have a lot of grasses which can suit different regions.
What we're trying to do is use cattle and wildlife to improve the rangeland.
By bunching cattle together like this, helps regenerate and preserve rangelands. Lisa Correa, ZBC News in Caesar.
The main news takes a break and we'll be back with more news.
Torn, stolen, burned in a house fire, damaged by rain, forged by fraudsters. If you own property in Zimbabwe, these are risks you simply cannot afford to ignore. But what if there was a better way?
The government of Zimbabwe has introduced a groundbreaking new process, title deed validation and securitization, to give property owners the protection they deserve. The new securitized title deed is engineered with world-class protection features, including microtext, a holographic Zimbabwe bird, Gilosh patterns, UV security elements, a watermark, a unique serial number, and a QR code linked to the National Digital Registry.
Through Statutory Instrument 76 of 2025, the government has established a comprehensive legal framework to support the validation and securitization of title deeds, enhancing security, streamlining verification, and safeguarding the integrity of property records across the country. With these multiple layers of protection, verification becomes faster, safer, and more reliable. The validation and securitization program is designed to protect homeowners, restore confidence in property records, and build a more secure land administration system for all Zimbabweans.
To find out more about the process, contact your conveyancer or call the Deeds National Call Center on 086 77 212 440. That's 086 77 212 440. This message is brought to you by the Department of Deeds, Companies and Intellectual Property.
Cicada unlocks EU financing and EU Zimtrade partnership benefits, thus enabling Isaac's farming business to flourish.
Kuminda benefits from EU Zimtrade partnerships, backing Taku's career, ensuring export quality.
2 hustles, 1 outcome. Everyone levels up together. From farms to cold rooms to global shelves, skills and teamwork are opening new paths every day. Stories of progress, wins worth celebrating.
Every day, millions of moments travel through the air. A call home, a payment made, a lesson learned, a life saved. But behind each moment is something steady, something quiet, unseen, unshaken, powering connection, supporting lives. This is Econet Infraco, Zimbabwe's largest private infrastructure group, comprising towers, power, and real estate. We build and operate the essential systems that hold the country together with scale, certainty, and purpose. We bring together 3 powerful engines of progress under one roof. Towers that carry the signal, clean energy that keeps it alive, and foundations that hold it all in one place. Because behind every connection, every transaction, every step forward, there's a quiet force. Econet Infraco, built for resilience, designed for growth.
Hundreds of battles fought across the continent by the princes of Europe. But history doesn't care who almost won. It only remembers the name on the trophy.
Where does football go from here?
One night to decide it all on the ultimate stage, 30th of May. Stay connected and watch DSTV to catch the UEFA Champions League final. It's on.
You're still watching the main news, and now a look into arts news. Government has called on Zimbabweans to actively participate in Culture Month commemorations, with authorities saying tradition remains a critical pillar in advancing national identity, social cohesion, and economic development under Vision 2030.
Zimbabwe is once again putting culture and heritage at the center of national development, with the government using Culture Month celebrations not only to promote identity and unity, but also to position the arts and creative sector as a key economic driver under Vision 2030. One of the key calls emerging from this year's Culture Month commemorations is for Zimbabweans to proudly embrace their identity through language, traditional values, and national attire, as government pushes for stronger cultural visibility both internationally and locally.
The ministry calls upon Zimbabweans to actively participate in both the national and provincial Culture Month celebrations. Zimbabwe is home to diverse languages, traditions, artistic expressions, and heritage practices that define who we are. The creative and cultural industries contribute to economic growth, employment creation, tourism, and community empowerment. Government continues to position arts and culture as strategic drivers of sustainable development and national prosperity.
With celebrations expected across the country throughout the month of May, the national commemorations are expected to take place at Baba Fields in Bulawayo on the 21st of May, where President Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa is set to officiate. Patience Nyagato, CBC News, Harare.
And that's it in the arts. We will be bringing you sports news after this break.
Cicada unlocks EU financing and EU Zim trade partnership benefits, thus enabling Isaac's farming business to flourish.
Kuminda benefits from EU Zim trade partnerships, backing Taku's career, ensuring export quality.
Two hustles, one outcome. Everyone levels up together. From farms to cold rooms to global shelves, skills and teamwork are opening new paths every day. Stories of progress, wins worth celebrating.
Hundreds of battles fought across the continent by the princes of Europe. But history doesn't care who almost won. It only remembers the name on the trophy.
Where does football go from here?
One night to decide it all on the ultimate stage, 30th of May. Stay connected and watch DSTV to catch the UEFA Champions League final. It's on.
Cicada unlocks EU financing and EU Zim trade partnership benefits, thus enabling Isaac's farming business to flourish.
Kuminda benefits from EU Zim trade partnerships, backing Taku's career, ensuring export quality.
Two hustles, one outcome. Everyone levels up together. From farms to cold rooms to global shelves, skills and teamwork are opening new paths every day. Stories of progress, wins worth celebrating.
Welcome back, and now finally in sports news, Harare Giants Dynamos suffered another added time heartbreak after veteran Herentals forward Ralph Kawandera struck on the stroke of full time to rescue a point for the students in a dramatic 2-2 draw at Rufaro Stadium. The result heaped more misery on Dynamos, who are now winless in 6 Casalaga Premier Soccer League matches.
Kawandera can go for the seventh, and he does!
Like the immortal jellyfish that seemingly defies aging, Ralph Kawandera continues to reinvent himself, delivering for Rentals both in defense and attack. The 35-year-old once again proved decisive, netting his 7th goal of the season in dramatic fashion to snatch a point from Dynamos and extend Harare Giants' miserable winless streak. A former triangle as the Platinum Dynamos and Cape United player, Kawandera often starts in defense before pushing forward in the second half, in an unconventional tactical switch that has paid dividends for the students. Herentals' resilience has lifted them to 6th on 19 points, with Kawandera emerging as the team's talisman through a string of vital goals that have also propelled him into the race for the league's Golden Boot.
I'm also using my experience, you know. It's not the first time that I played at the back. It's not the first time I played in the midfield or in the front. All I'm doing is using my experience, and I'm ready that it's looking good for the team.
For Dynamos, the alarm bells continue to grow louder after another frustrating outing leaves them slipping further behind the leading pack. Lawrence Ruseda, ZBC News, Harare.
Former champions Simba Bora are plotting an upset when they host log leaders Cape United in a high-profile clash at Wadzanai Stadium this Saturday. The two sides collide in one of the standout fixtures of matchday 13 as Simba Bora seek an immediate response after their midweek defeat to Chicken Inn.
After suffering a 1-0 defeat to Chicken Inn this Wednesday, Simba Bora are hoping for a quick turnaround. The former champions return to their fortress this Saturday wounded but determined to collect maximum points against the league leaders Cape United. Simba Bora head coach Mandla Mpofu has challenged his charges to quickly move on from the midweek setback.
It's a tough competition, it's a tough league this season. Yes, Cape's on top, but it's a fixture that we need to prepare and make sure that we prepare it well, go there, play and get maximum points, especially playing at home.
The congested fixture schedule, which has seen teams play 3 matches in 7 days, is also beginning to take its toll on players. Cape United head coach Tekshua Chiragu is hoping his players recover in time for the blockbuster encounter.
I know it was going to be difficult because of the last game that we played. I think they lose a lot of energy, they were so exhausted in terms of the high intensity of the game that we played on Sunday. But we are happy about the spirit. They always have that fighting spirit. And when you consider again the second goal, they get motivated because they didn't want to lose. And this is the character that we need from the players. At the end of the day, we respect the point that we got, the fighting spirit of the players, all the energy, the effort that they're putting, just need to appreciate. And for today, we can go for that 1 point.
Matchday 13 action begins with the Battle of Minos as league debutants FC Hunters take on New Boys Agama at the Hart Stadium. FC Platinum hosts Chicken Inn at Mandawa Walte 1 clash with Manika Diamonds at Ascot. Bulawayo Chiefs, who have developed a bad habit of surrendering in the dying moments, host wounded Hard Rock at Babafield Stadium. Scotland entertained ZPC Kariba at Rufaro Stadium. Sunday action will see Highlanders hosting unbeaten against the Platinum Stars at Babafield. Dynamos face Triangle United at Rufaro Wamos welcome a Rentals College to Ngoni Stadium. Mthokozi Dube, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Zimbabwe's medal tally at the ongoing African Senior Athletics Championships continues to grow after the country secured 2 more medals on Thursday evening through Dennis Hove and Liford Zuze in the men's 400 meters final. Hove produced a strong run to claim the silver medal in a time of 44.92 seconds, while Zuze followed closely behind to settle for bronze after clocking 45.03 seconds in a fast-paced final. Thandazani Ndlovu also participated in the race and finished in 7th place. The latest medals add to Zimbabwe's impressive start to the championships after Ashlimila Kamangira opened the country's account with a silver medal in the women's 100 meters hurdles. Attention now shifts to the men 4x100 meters relay team, which is still set to take to the track in the final later this evening. And we now give you the weather report.
Good evening, Zimbabwe, and welcome to tonight's weather report and forecast. Hope you had a wonderful day with a bit of scattered clouds over the southeastern parts of the country, which is areas such as Chirezi and Mwenezi, because of a southeasterly wind that is drifting into the country. But as of this morning, we had a bit of cold conditions over Matabeleland, north and south, with areas such as Matopos, Westnik, Kezi, and Lupane all in the single digits, which led to a bit of ground frost over Matopos. But however, our winds are shifting from a southwesterly component, which gave us the cold conditions over Matabeleland, north and south, to a southeasterly one, which is bringing in this moisture over the southeastern parts of the country. And this led to the scattered clouds that we had infiltrating the southeastern parts of the country as of this evening. We should expect those clouds to drift into the southern parts, making it rather cool over the areas such as Matabeleland South, Masvingo, as well as southern parts of the Midlands. By afternoon, we're expecting it to be rather mild across most of those southern provinces, covering areas such as Matabeleland South, but into Bulawayo the cloud should not reach. However, the cooling winds should cool down the afternoon conditions over Bulawayo, but further cooling is expected on Sunday. We were expecting temperatures to drop also over Matopo area, where it warms up again around Monday. So it cools down into the weekend and warms up as we get out of the weekend into the working week, with more of those cloudy conditions projected around Sunday. We're expecting cloudy conditions over Gwanda tomorrow, warms up a little on Saturday, and then cools down again on Sunday, with our maximums reaching about 21 on Sunday, and then warms up again on Monday. For Gwayi, we're expecting windy conditions for Friday, but it warms up a little bit as we get into Monday next week, and Sunday is our D-Day. We're expecting colder conditions. For Masvingo, we're expecting colder conditions also on Sunday, but for tomorrow, just a bit of windy conditions drifting in to the southern parts of Masvingo. Slight touches of cloud are projected on Saturday as that system slightly fades, and we're expecting a bit of cloudiness also for Mutare on Saturday and further on Sunday. For Nyanga, we're expecting it to cool down to about 19 degrees on Sunday, and it warms up again on Monday. But for tomorrow, just brief cloudy periods here and there. For Maranda, we're expecting it would also cool down over the weekend, and it warms up as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday next week. Not much affected, but a bit more of the sunshine projected there. Brief cloudy periods here and there over Kadoma. We're expecting our temperatures to be rather in the warm category for much of the period, in the upper 20s. For Chinhoyi, we're expecting brief cloudy periods here and there. More of the cooler conditions in the early morning hours over Victoria Falls, but it warms up by afternoon with more of those sunny conditions projected there. Lupane also under mostly warm conditions for the bulk of the week. For Pindura, we're expecting more of the sunshine with brief cloudy periods here and there. Cool at first, becoming warmer by afternoon. But for Kariba, it's mild at first, becoming warmer by afternoon, with more of those sunny skies projected there for the bulk of the period. That's it from the weather desk.
Many thanks from the Met Department there. And now do remember, for more stories, you can log on to our website, zbcnews.co.zw, or visit our X handle at ZBC News Online, our Facebook page, ZBC News Online, as well as our YouTube channel, ZBC News Online. And that's all we had for you for tonight. From myself, Dora Ngube, Nobu Mawungwa, and the rest of the crew behind the scenes, good evening.